Warning: the following video contains explicit language which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Warning: this video is for educational and informational purposes only. I do not under any circumstances endorse or condone the breaking of any laws in my or any other jurisdiction. The contents of this video are in accordance with Governor Greg Abbott's Executive Order GA-56, along with guidance issued by the Texas Alcoholic Beverage Commission and the Texas Department of Human Services. Viewing beyond this point is a choice you have made, and you take responsibility for that choice. Thank you, and please have a great day.
Hey, you guys!
Hello and welcome to this video. I hope everyone's doing well, hope everyone's having fun, and I hope the universe is treating you fairly. Today's video, I want to talk about strain names and the certificate of analysis. It's one of those things where the names of particular strands, something before we get any deeper, I need to clarify for the algorithm that we are talking about THCA flower for the state of Texas currently at time of recording that meets the 0.3% Delta 9 THC by weight. Okay, that's what we're doing, right? That is what we're talking about. We're not talking about the devil's lettuce, though there is some crossover with the devil's lettuce. So just understand that we're talking about THCA flower that currently in the state of Texas meets the 0.3% Delta 9 THC by weight. One of the things that a lot of people get hung up on are strain names. Well, even more simple, even before you get to that, you have indica and sativa and hybrid. In America, since the 1960s, your strains of indica and sativa have been bred, interbred, crossbred. So anything grown outside of India, whether they call it a indica or a hybrid or a sativa, it's moot. It's the genetics have been so wide. The genetics in modern flower is so broad, so wide, so healthy that trying to label something in one of these three categories when it's all basically hybrid. Now in India, they still grow pure sativa and pure indica. The thing is the myth, and there I say myth, but there is some reality to it. I have a cat behind me who you may or may not be able to see on the camera, and he is playing in his favorite paper box. But the genetics in basically the flower that's grown in Europe, North America, anywhere, pretty much anywhere outside of India has such a huge genetic base to pull from. It's just you get these really good strains. You get these strong, adaptive strains because they're not inbred. They're not, they're not the same genetics getting retreaded over and over again. Like I said before I went off on a tangent, was the common thing is sativa is supposed to give you energy. It's supposed to get you up and going. Indica is supposed to be calming, chill you out, so you can sleep. And hybrid is a mixture too. All your hybrids are going to have a certain percentage of indica, and they're going to have a certain percentage of sativa. Don't worry about that. It's because everybody's different. That gray mass that lives between our ears is one giant chemistry experiment, and everyone's chemistry experiments are different. THC, delta 8, delta 9, THCA, THC and other variants of THC are chemicals, and they're going to affect each of these chemistry experiments differently. The same with your CBD, your CBG, your CBN, your CBGA. All of these are going to affect that chemistry experiment different. Okay, with that being said, find you probably 2, 3, 4 strains that you really that really work and do what you want to do with your chemistry experiment. So yeah, don't worry about if it's this or that. If whatever you're looking to do, and I recommend, especially if you're new to THCA flower, get you an eighth of, get yourself an eighth of different strains. Whether you do it online, or if you're fortunate enough to live in a state that has a good dispo setup. Dispo is a slang for dispensary. But if you have a state that has a good network of dispos, you're going to be they're going to be able to find something. Like I say, get an eighth. Get an eighth of this, get an eighth of that, get an eighth of this other thing. And when you find, I recommend 3 strains minimum, 4 strains optimum for this, because you have what's called strain fatigue. If you're smoking the same thing over and over and over again, even though THC is THC, there are other cannabinoids in there that your body adapts to, and you'll feel the effects wane over time. I mean, you really like this, one of the ones that I like is called Scribbles. I really like it, but I don't smoke it all the time, or I don't vape it. I don't combustion smoke very much, but I also mix it up with something called Pink Rosary, and these are all strain names from Lit Farms, because that's who I almost exclusively buy flower through now. Just because for me, their service is impeccable, their products are high quality, and the ones that are in state in Texas, like Black Rock Vape, which is out of Pflugerville, Texas. They have awesome edibles and drinkables. They have awesome concentrates like dabs and shatter and stuff like that. But for me, their flower is overpriced compared to Lit Farms. So, you know, but like I said, for edibles and drinkables, and if you're a concentrate person, they have some really good concentrates. Like I said, I think the flower is a little expensive, but that's just me. At Lit Farms, I can buy an ounce for about what they charge for most of their eighths. A 420 ounce is 28 grams even versus an eighth being 3.5 grams. So yeah, that's another thing you need to look at. Price, what you're willing to pay for what you want. I recommend, if you're going to buy online, find seven minimum online dispos. A lot of your dispos, especially with the legalization of the devil's lettuce, you have they sell the devil's lettuce for the states that it's legal, and they sell the THCA flower in the states where THC flower is legal, where they abide by the 0.3%. That's just, and find something. Find something, a place that works for you, that has the stuff that you want at the price you want, that you're willing to pay for a particular thing. Another thing, don't get hung up on strain names. Because like Lit Farms has something called Pink Rosary. I like it. It's a pretty good strain. However, if I go to Black Rock Vape or any of the other online dispos that have it, there's a couple that have some, that have Pink Rosary. It's not the same. It's not the same thing. Individual dispos, and these are all stoner name. All your strain names, whether it's Devil's Lettuce or THCA flower, are stoner names. Just for example, you got like Black Truffle, Banana Runts, La Kush Cake, Grape Cake, White Runts, Hood Candy. All of these are all names, and they're not exclusive to Lit Farms. Other dispos, even if you have a brick and mortar dispo where you're at, something by the same name that I'm getting, if you buy it there, is going to be different. There is probably 105% chance that it's going to be different. One of the reasons why I like Lit Farms, and that's a personal thing, that's my thing, is the consistency. And that's another thing. You're even Lit Farms, their consistency from one growing season to the next growing season, because things change, weather changes, time of year changes. You can't perfectly mix your fertilizer each and every time. You may have a drought summer one year. You may have a wet winter one year. And all of those things are going to affect the flavor, the vapor that's produced, or the smoke that's produced, the smell. Your terpenes are what gives you your smell, and stuff like that. It's all going to be affected, whether it's grown outside or inside. Lit farms, they have a 3-tier system. They have essential, which is exclusively grown outside, and that's all other that's their most inexpensive. Preferred is some of it's grown outside, some of it's grown inside, and it depending on what you're getting, how you're getting it, when you're getting it, depending when the grow finished, when they first packaged it, how long it's been on the shelf, you're going to have different prices within that category. Then your Supreme is all grown inside, it's all manicured, it's all, it gets the special treatment, and the prices reflect that. These are your Supreme, or the ones that you get that are, $120 for an eighth. So yeah, it's versus the essential, where you can get most of the essential between $29 and $39 an ounce. Yeah. And they also have a fourth category. It's called smalls. What smalls are is when they harvest the flower, they inadvertently, you're going to have pieces break off. In the smalls, they'll do a grow, and they'll harvest all the flower. Then they'll have all of this stuff that's broken off, and it's exactly what it is. It's nubs. Okay. You have a bud, which is the whole flower, and the flower is, the bud is made of nubs. You've got all these loose nubs floating around, doing their thing, and so they just gather them up and put them, package them separately, because you're getting these itty bitty things, about the size of a Yahtzee dice. For if you played Yahtzee, about the size of a 6-sided dice, which I prefer, because and I buy a lot of their smalls, and in your smalls you have everything from $29 for an ounce to $130 for an eighth. So I tend to go for I catch the stuff that's on sale, because a lot of times what happens, and this is where you got to keep an eye, especially online. I think it's harder to do, or for me it would be harder to do, because I don't like going into town. If we had a brick and mortar dispo, it would be harder for me to track. But doing it online, what happens, you'll have a grow. Even if you have a strain that's just wildly popular, depending on time of year, what's going on in the economy and stuff like that, they have it, they're selling it for X number of dollars for X amount. And they have the replacement grow growing. And what happens is when the new grow finishes and they get ready to harvest, if they got a lot of something still on the shelf, they'll cut that stuff all the way. They'll cut that stuff to get it off the shelf, so they can put the new stuff on the shelf, and they don't got this overhead. So yeah, it's one of those things. That's what I do. I don't recommend you taking my word as gospel. Use it as a foundation and go look around. You may find something better. You may be in a position to get something better. But just kind of take what I say as far as this, buying the flower, the amounts of flour, the prices on it, with a grain of salt. Okay? I am not the final in all of anything. But yeah, do your own research, look. Like I said, I'm just giving you recommendations what work for me. Yeah, this. Now another thing is, and I love these. I think that dispos should have them where you can look at the certificates of analysis on demand, whether it's brick and mortar or online. That's another thing I respect about Lit Farms, is you click on a strain and it comes up. You can click on a strain, read their spiel about it. Then at the bottom, you click on their COA, their certificate of analysis, and it gives you the what for on the sample they were sent. I read somewhere, or I may have heard on a YouTube video, that COAs are good for 3 years. Every 3 years, they've got to resubmit a sample to be tested. COAs are good because they show you what the potentiality is. They're good. They show you everything, the makeup and all that. However, when they send something to get tested, they pick the best looking flower. They pick the one that's loaded down the heaviest, and that's what they send in to be tested. And because the testing process requires the destroying of the flower, it is what it is. It's just that particular bud is what you're getting the analysis on. Those numbers are going to be accurate within a margin. Probably, as I've heard, read, and through my own research, so anywhere from 3 to 5% plus or minus. So if you get a COA, and the COA tells you that there's 26% THCA in it, it can be as high as 30 or as low as 21. So yeah, it's, and another thing, if a store or something is, yeah, this is 45%, THCA, blah, blah, blah. That bud has been sprayed with synthetic THC, because in nature, about the highest THC you're going to get is somewhere between 28 and 32%. So if they're giving you these anything over 32%, just rule of thumb, is been sprayed with synthetics before they shipped it for, or what they do is they got the COA that's giving you the true number, like say 18 to about 25% is your average. That's a big scale. That's a big area there. But yeah, they may send it in. You click on the COA, it's telling you, there's, 21%. And you're at a loss. okay, the COA says 21%, but why are they advertising it in the store as like 44%? And that's because they sprayed the hell out of it with synthetic THC. So yeah, and that stuff's gonna burn off. That stuff, if you're combustion smoking, you're getting none of that, because it's gonna, as soon as you hit it with the fire, the rules of thermodynamics, and because this is an outside property, it's gonna release its energy, and you're getting nothing. You're going to get a little bit of the naturally occurring THCA, but you're not going to. It's just the downside of combustion smoking. Vaping, yeah, you're going to get it. It's going to taste like shit, and you may get a headache. Or me, that's how I know I've gotten something that's been sprayed, is because I get a headache. Once it burns off and the synthetic runs through my system, and it's going to run through your system fast because it's synthetic and not naturally occurring, and your body wants to get rid of the shit. The level of the THC is it's just bad. Now, me, I look for the CBD stuff with high CBD content. All your CB cannabinoids. That's what I'm looking. I don't look at the THC, the THCA, THCP, THCCCCC, or whatever. That last one, I think I kind of made that one up. The THC, I look at when I'm going through and scrolling through for what I want. I'm looking at, okay, this has, 0.2 or 0.02 CBD, which that's a lot of CBD for what it. 0.02 on a gram is a whole lot of anti-inflammatory help. Sorry about that. I misspoke when I said inflammatory. So yeah, that's what I look at. So for me, the THC levels are unimportant. Like I said, don't chase the numbers. Once you find a strain, like I said, I recommend finding 3 minimum, 4 optimum. After 4, you're just spending a bunch of money. But mix them up. Don't smoke the same strain every day. Or what I like to do is, I got a big mason jar, quart mason jar. I'll pour a little bit in, a couple different strains, mix it up real good, shake it, and mix it up, put a little bit more in. So all my buds are different strains. This can be good and this can be bad as far as flavor. I've been lucky so far. I've been lucky so far that I haven't produced any weird, bizarre flavors. I've had some flavors that have taken me a little bit to get used to, because a particular strain may have a stronger flavor to it than a little bit lesser strain, these two might be equal, and one is just creeping up over it, just barely, because the amounts that randomly got mixed together. So you get a combo flavor, kind of like Neapolitan ice cream for those sick individuals that like that. But you can mix and match. You can find, okay, I like, 2 buds of this strain mixed with one nub of this strain, and have fun, be creative. So yeah, that is so you don't get the strain fatigue. So that's pretty much what I have to say about that. Until next time, everybody have fun and be a good human. Be good to other humans. Peace.
Hey, it's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?